The LONGBOX CRUSADE presents Transformers Chronicles.
Hello and welcome back to Transformers Chronicles. I'm Delvin, aka The Dark Web. In case you're new to the show, welcome. And let me tell you what this thing is all about. We're going for a wild, crazy ride, chronicling the awesome, wacky, and sometimes series-defining world of Marvel Comics, The Transformers. But I will not be going at it alone. First up, we have founder of the LONGBOX CRUSADE. Did I change that? That's good. That's good. I had to remind myself because I would have forgotten. The Acolyte. I gave you a new word, Pat. The Acolyte to the Transformers world. Yeah. The seeker of the matrix of knowledge. His name is Pat Sampson, a.k.a. DJ Cristados. How are you, Pat?
I'm doing good. Now that you mention Acolyte, it reminds me of something I'm putting together with one of the other Transformers. You know, it's called Grimlade. It's like where you get all your acolytes to help you in your immune system and all that, make you get your energy back. But it's Grimlade.
Electrolytes, Pat. Now, I think you mean electrolytes.
Yes.
I think. I don't know. I don't know.
Acolytes are servers at a Catholic mass. You're thinking about electrolytes, I believe.
Is that what an acolyte is?
Yes.
Yes. I think so. Yeah. Like I
didn't know. Yeah. I just knew a big word. That was it. Like, because I didn't grow up Catholic. I did not know that was the actual definition of acolyte. I just knew that it was above novice.
I've been listening to the Catechism in a Year podcast and actually keeping up for it. Otherwise, I, who was raised in the church and baptized and confirmed, had no idea that that's what they were called until like 2 weeks ago when I saw it right there.
Well, there's a reason why.
Also, their dungeon, the first edition Dungeons and Dragons first level clerics are also called acolytes. So we did all of our nerd buttons today, I think.
That's where I've heard acolyte from. I've heard acolyte from like those realms. Like it feels like when I read Lone Wolf back in the day that word acolyte came up in it. I knew it. And Pat, not to forget your bit, make sure that you work with Grimlock that if it's just a formula for humans that it can't have like energon in it. We can't consume that. We die.
Yeah, maybe little bits of it. It'll be all right. I don't know. We're still going through all the patenting and all that and FDA approval. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, like good luck to you on that. I'm going to move to the...
It's called Grimlockade Cray Cray.
Grimlockade Cray Cray. Got it. I'll be looking for the t-shirt design for it. You can work with that via Pat GPT. I'm going to move on to the lesser half of Married with Content.
Hello.
His name is Jonathan Schaefer-Hames. He is the librarian of our show. He's about to come in with his hot intro.
That hot intro. First of all, before I forget, it's this issue. Oh my gosh. I thought this issue was way later. I did not realize I was going to be, when I picked up 61, that it was going to be this. Or 15. And so I'm like, okay. So very happy about that. Listening to Pat, I think we, for reals, probably should make some sort of like Bishop Grimlock in the Church of Primus t-shirt.
There you go. Yeah.
Maggie's the irreverent one. We'll have her come up with the slogan.
Well, yeah, you could have like a dinosaur with like a bishop hat on.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh man!
I was just thinking if I could crochet a dinosaur.
And then it could be like a face of Primus kind of behind it, you know, and he's said like this, you know, with the
make sure we patent this before we release it. Otherwise, everybody's going to be running for the, to get these ideas out.
Right, you know, selling like hotcakes or Grimlockade, as it were. Moving on, we have the greater half of Married with Content. Her name is Maggie Schaefer-Hames. Welcome to the show, Maggie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, excuse me. That was rude. Hi, Maggie.
Hi, Dalvin. If I seem a little off today, it's because I had a surprise tetanus shot. I didn't know I was going to be getting that done today, but I did. Yes. So I feel okay, but my arm is dead. Fair trade.
That's where they jump out of the bushes and say,
Yes.
surprise, and
Jab
give
you
you a
with the
tetanus
vaccine.
shot.
Yep, exactly.
I saw mine coming and hit him on the head with a frying pan that I carry around for this purpose.
Lesson learned, never tell your doctor when you're due for your tetanus shot.
I remember the first time, like when the COVID shot was going around, and when I got my COVID shot, and people were like, "Oh man!" and my arm was so sore, and it's like I do jujitsu, so I'm just sore all the time. It just blended in with the rest of the soreness.
The pain, yeah.
Tetanus shots are particularly.
Yeah, it's because it's got to go into the muscle. Like the shot itself did not hurt at all, but my arm is killing me.
Yeah, because they hit that dense part of your shoulder.
Yeah, for real. But hey, now I won't get tetanus for like the next 6 years or however long the vaccine lasts. So, right.
That's
what
right.
About you, Calvin? What you been up to?
Yeah, any recent new shots?
Thankfully, no recent new shots. It's been pretty just level here in Charlotte. Getting ready to host Pat, Jared, and Jason for the upcoming Heroes Con here in Charlotte. So looking forward to that. So that'll be fun. So I'm just in there thinking, since last month, nothing over the top, like super crazy has happened, and I'm actually okay with that. I was reminded of a phrase that a senior satellite operator told me when it came to space operations. He said, "Boring is beautiful."
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know what? If you can just say, "Hey, things are just going like level and nothing crazy is going on in your lifetime," that may not be a bad thing.
Right.
You don't want to be doomed to live in exciting times.
You don't want to be the air traffic controller who's like having the crazy day. No, you want to be the air traffic controller where everything is super boring.
Yep. And we would say the same thing when it came to satellite operations back in the day. We didn't want any red alerts. We wanted everything just to be quiet and peaceful. Yeah?
I want to be bored. You know?
You want a boring 8-hour shift. You do not want an eventful one. So with all of that said, the purpose of this podcast will be tackling all of Marvel's Transformers comics in order, starting with issue 1 and working our way to the series end at issue 80, which gets closer and closer. We will answer any questions that are brought up to the best of our ability and see how these books we loved then as a kid hold up to our eyes as an adult now. This podcast is guaranteed to be, you guessed it, more than meets the eye. So Pat, John, and Maggie, let's see what happens when a god screams right after the promo break.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Hello, soldiers. I'm Jared Albrecht, the yard sale artist, codenamed Death Probe, and I'm here to give you your orders to join me and my elite podcasting squad for G.I. Joe Chronicles. Who makes up this elite squad, you may ask? It starts with my right-hand man, Pat Sampson. Tell him your codename and specialty, Pat.
Well, Jared, I'm glad you asked. My codename is DJ Christados, and on G.I. Joe Chronicles, I specialize in G.I. Joe comic books, Marvel, Devil's Due, IDW. We cover them all. But there's so much more in the G.I. Joe Chronicles universe, and that's where our first sergeant comes in. He's Jim Mill. Sound off with your codename and specialty, Jim.
My specialty is everything else G.I. Joe. I'm going to talk about some comics too, but I'm also going to look at the G.I. Joe property from lots of different angles, including, but not limited to, the toys, cartoon, puzzles, train sets, bed sheets, Halloween costumes, you name it, and there's probably a Joe version of it, and I'm going to let you know it exists.
You forgot to tell the troops your codename.
Oh yeah, codename Weasel Skull.
I don't think you can have that one. I think it's taken.
Dang. How about codename Weasel Skull?
Strangely enough, that's also taken.
Orsted.
Oh, that's like a beautiful name, man. We could be cosmically...
Okay, never mind. I got it. Codename Dark Web.
No.
Pop Pop Hiss?
No.
Pimp Destro?
No.
Hot Thing?
No.
While my battle buddies get that ironed out, I invite you to join us for G.I. Joe Chronicles. You can listen to it on its own solo feed wherever podcasts are found, or catch it under the LONGBOX CRUSADE Network umbrella. We look forward to seeing you at Fort Longbox.
Yo, Joe! Okay, how about Jim the Joe Junkie?
Maybe.
We now return to the Transformers.
Welcome back. The issue we will be covering today is Transformers issue 61. And here's Maggie with the cover description.
Thanks, Delvin. So we've got Optimus Prime in the upper left-hand corner, Spider-Man in the lower left-hand corner, the Transformers logo emblazoned across the top in white, outlined in purple, it looks like. Yeah. And the primary focus of the cover is something that actually took me a really long time to figure out what I was looking at, but it's like rays of orange and yellow light that are then making up this kind of abstract rendering of the face of Primus screaming. But I didn't know what I was looking at when I first looked at it. And then when I got it, it was like one of those magic eyes when suddenly you unfocus your eyes just right and you see the image. It was kind of like that. And we've got Jazz and Bumblebee and Grimlock. For the first time ever, I know all the Autobots, all the Transformers on the cover of an issue.
All right.
I know all three of them. And we have a little bubble in the lower left that says the Primal Scream.
They gave you some classics, Maggie. So
I mean, okay, they're easy ones, I know, but
no, that wasn't a put down to you. Just saying, hey, at least you remember the classics.
Heck yeah, Grimlock's one of my favorites. I love Grimlock.
So Maggie, since you described the cover, tell us what you think about it.
I think it's stunning. I really do. I think the colors are gorgeous. And I'm not gonna take points away from it because I didn't recognize what I was looking at first. That was kind of a fun little journey for me. But it's not even so much simple. There's not a whole lot going on, but it's very striking. And the artwork on Jazz and Bumblebee and Grimlock is spot on. So it's a very good cover. I quite enjoy it.
I do wonder, you got Jazz looking like Jazz and Bumblebee looking like Bumblebee. And as we get to the cover credits that Pat will be reading in a second, Don Perlin was the artist or the penciler for the cover. And you could tell that he's like, I'm drawing a dino. I'm not drawing a robot Grimlock. I'm drawing a dino.
Heck no. Oh, we'll get into that later. Yeah.
Pat, what do you think about the cover?
Oh, I'm definitely agreeing with Maggie on this one. The artwork, just the detail on the three Autobots was very well done than, we've seen kind of before. I don't think this thing was that rushed at all. It doesn't feel like it. And the colors, man, there are a lot of colors going on this one. And I think that just really helps them stand out a lot, especially that orange yellow burst that's going on. I think that really makes everything else pop. And I kind of knew what the cover was just, from the last issue of what we were going to face. But it's still kind of like Maggie said, kind of abstracty if you kind of, close your eyes a little bit and squint a little bit, then you can kind of see the face of Primus. And they know, you don't want to see the face of Primus because that's not good.
We find that out. And I squinted and I thought that I saw a schooner actually, but you know what? I digress. John.
There is no Easter bunny.
John, what do you think about the cover?
This cover is incredible. I echo everything they said. Again, the coloring is amazing. Every single choice of the colors are perfect. It manages to arrange them in a way where some of them, color wheel wise, you would think wouldn't flow very well, but they do. Probably a lot to do with the different angles of the rays coming in certain direction, with how it's kind of tricking us into what we're seeing. So we don't really notice the pink, the brightness of the pink, on the yellow and the orange and things like that. It's really good. You said this is Don Perlin that did this one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Don Perlin's an old hat of these. He did a lot of the earlier ones too. So yeah, this one's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm wondering why they pulled Don Perlin out of mothballs, as it were, to do this cover. We've been so spoiled with Jose Delbo, but it's not like Don Perlin did a bad job here. As all three of you are complimentary, and I'm not going to take anything away from that as well. I did smile because I don't think as a kid I recognized that was forming a face. But as an adult, I picked it up and looked at it. I was like, yeah, that is absolutely forming like a face. You got the eyes with the eyebrows and like a nose of sorts, and then the mouth, and then just I was probably more distracted as a 13-year-old or so by the flashing yellow and orange, and then seeing the robots and didn't even pay attention that it was like basically Primus. So very, very good cover. And yeah, you can't go wrong with the three classics. And you can tell that, while like last cover also had Bludgeon on it, but the main feature as well was Grimlock, Jazz, and Bumblebee. So you can tell that they were pushing kind of the classic characters a little bit there, with the hopes of maybe some of the older Transformer fans, like who may have said, "Oh, I'm too old or want to drop the book," may still have that nostalgia feel. I'm assuming like it didn't matter. I was collecting the book from issue 24, and I had no signs of stopping at this point at all. So, so they weren't worried about getting or keeping me. I was still on board, but at the same time, I had heard, from Simon Furman that sales had waned, at that point, back in the late 80s to the 90s, that probably meant only 300,000 people were reading the book, right? So so the sales waned a little bit, but maybe this was an attempt to get people back onto the book.
It worked for me. I was pretty much a lukewarm collector at this point, but this was definitely one of them that I picked up off of the stand, the spinner rack because of how it looked. And I just wanted to echo Delvin. I am pretty sure that I didn't notice the face at any point when I had this as a kid until this time right now, which I think is great because so don't feel bad about you not seeing it. You caught it a lot quicker than Delvin and I did.
I had an issue and then look at it again and then I was like, oh, that's what I thought we were falling into a hole with a bunch of machinery.
That is exactly what I thought it was my entire life. Yeah. I was thinking smelting pool or some sort of thing, or falling down into the core of a thing, of Cybertron. Because that's
right. But then I'm like, oh, it's a fake.
This one's great.
Makes way more sense.
Well, now that we've got everyone's thoughts, let us rate the thing. If you don't know, we rate things here on Transformers Chronicles on a scale of 1 to 10, like the tech specs of the original toys, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. To describe what we feel, we'll start with Pat. Pat, what are you rating Transformers 61, the cover?
I think I'm going to give it an 8. A pretty decent 8 on this one. I mean, I've said a lot about it. It's I'm at an 8. It's
very succinct, Pat.
I will be succinct with Pat. I will also give it an 8. That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking it is a very good cover. I like it. And it's striking, and it pulled a casual reader in John back to the book. So, John, what would you rate Transformers 61?
I'm actually going to give this a 10. This is, and now that I know it's Don Perlin, this is my favorite Don Perlin Transformers comic cover that I can remember right now. Because if you asked me before the series started, which ones are you going to name 10? 5 jumped to my head, obviously, and I think the one 40 or 41 with all of the Transformers on it, and this one were the 3 that just popped into my head immediately. And there's some coming up later that are also good. But so my memory said it was a 10. I'm looking at it now and it still looks like one. But
nice. And on those 2 of those covers, 2 of the 3 covers you mentioned, Grimlock was featured on 2 of those. So not a surprise though, as everyone loves Grimlock. Maggie, what would you rate Transformers 61, the cover?
I am also going to give it a 10 because I don't think there's any reason not to.
There you go.
Enough said. And very succinct also. So I like that. We got some 8s, we got some 10s that averages out to a 9, which I think is very fitting. Everyone thinks that it's an awesome cover. And with that, we will turn it over to Pat with the credits for the issue.
Well, Delvin, I'm glad you asked. We are going to be covering Transformers issue number 61. Its on sale date was October 24th, 1989, a number. It's another summer. We're going to get down with the cover date of December 1989. The cover says mid-December for what it's worth. So does anybody know? Did they do a double run or?
They were doing bi-week or doing
a bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly, is it? Right.
A bi-monthly with this?
They were trying to stir up sales in a lot of them to tag on. I know also Web of Spider-Man, I believe, was also coming out twice a month at the time.
Okay. Which would make sense. The cover price was $1. Story is by Simon Furman. Art is by Jeff Sr. Colorist is Nelson Yamtov. The letterist go to Jim Massaria. Editor is Don Daly. Cover credits go to Don Perlin and Vince Milsarek. And that's all brought to you by Mike's Amazing World and tfwiki.net. Back to you, Delvin.
Thank you, Pat. Let's get to the synopsis.
It is a world transformed, where things are not what they seem. It is the world of the Transformers.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. Transformers. Robots in disguise. Transformers. More than meets the eye.
The Transformers from Marvel Comics.
The title of this issue was Primal Scream. Talk about a table setter for the next year or so. Really the rest of the series, if I'm being real. Grimlock, Jazz, and Bumblebee, and some Micromasters, were accidentally transported to the center of Cybertron, where some guy called the Keeper has an incredible story to tell them about the origin of the Transformers. Basically, in the age-old battle of dark and light, a being, Primus, representing light, had one last dark entity to extinguish, Unicron. Battling across planes, Primus was unsuccessful in losing, so he led Unicron into the real world where they both were turned into lifeless asteroids, unable to detect the other. Unicron morphed his rock into a planet-eating planet. Primus morphed his into a planet called Cybertron and created Transformers, and within them his essence, the creation matrix, with the hopes that the Transformers plus the matrix would be enough to vanquish Unicron. Primus realized his fight with Unicron wasn't over, that one or both must die. But as long as Primus stays asleep, Unicron cannot find him. Heavy stuff. And as the Decepticon pretenders who came along with the Autobots, unbeknownst to them, launched their attack, we learned that at Autobase on Cybertron, they are working on recovering the transdimensional portal that Bludgeon wrecked. We also see Scorponok's troops are not happy that he kept Starscream alive. Closing time. After initially not wanting to cause a ruckus to not wake Primus, Bumblebee and the Autobots rally and beat the Decepticons. But one of those rascals tries to shoot Grimlock in the back, and the blast ricochets and hits Primus, waking him up with a scream. Right then is when the Autobots get teleported to their original destination, Earth, but y'all, Unicron is awake. And because Prime was shocked awake, Unicron knows where Cybertron is. Think that will have consequences? So let's talk about it. Good, bad, everything in between on this heck of an issue. And John was so excited about this. We will start with him with whatever he wants to talk about.
All right. Indeed. First, I would like to briefly turn on the Transformers spotlight just to point out a couple of things before I forget. There's a lot of stuff that Simon Furman puts into this that he had previously used in the UK comics, particularly that Guardian robot that they fight at the end. That is one of his better known creations. He had kind of created this, even before the Omega Supreme, he had created kind of this invincible Guardian of the Ark, and it would constantly go, it like the Danger Room and all things like it would constantly malfunction and have to fight them, and here they are again.
You mean from issue 60? Or this issue?
This issue, though. Was it? Was that in the last? Oh, you're right. That's issue 60. I'm sorry. I'm saying it, but I wasn't here last time.
Yeah,
so I wanted to
it's okay. I didn't know that. So that's a great piece of information.
I read them both in a row today, so I got them both flipped up. Yeah. The other thing is that the Autobot leader and some of the other characters that are there in Autobase and Cybertron are also Simon Furman creations who have been previously featured. And also, this origin story of the Transformers was previously featured in the UK comics, along with a version of events that start to flow forward from that. But at that point was when Furman got called up to cover the American story. So that kind of petered out, and then he restarted it here. Oh. So that's the only place really where by that point you can't really, mesh them together in any real way. Although I guarantee John M. Wilson will have figured out some way to do so that it makes sense. But that I just want to make sure this has been done before. I've seen both of them. In my opinion, this is the superior of the two because he kind of got to restart it and have it all and fleshed out and things. And we'll see how he does.
So far, so good. I'll just simply say I was very impressed with this issue, and which will reflect in my ratings later on. But I don't want to talk. Us old Transformers folks can talk about it later. Let's go to Pat. Pat, what do you have to add in your first round of discussion?
Well, I want to say I'm glad John mentioned that about that Autobot guy, because I'm like, I didn't know who that guy was. I'm like, am I supposed to know this guy and this two-headed guy? Yeah. Two heads or whatever?
Nope. No idea.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that and some of that background on the origin story. And I think this is a good starting on point for somebody too. Mm-hmm. I think you could go back to the other stuff that we've seen, but if you were just given this, you could hand this to somebody and say, okay, here you go. Read this and you're going to understand, where things are or what's going to happen in the future here somewhat.
For sure.
Or at least, like you said, it's the big start to something big, even though there was some stuff, before, and we see Starscream kind of scheming around yet. And the aftermath of that, I guess, for Scorponok, and letting Starscream alive. So that's going to add to some stuff. But yeah, I really thought this was a good jumping on point.
Yeah, agreed. Like if for whatever reason you randomly picked up an issue of Transformers and you came across 61 first, you could read 61 through 80 and have a good little packet of what is going on as far as the Transformers, and it might make you want to pick up the previous 60. Maggie, what are your thoughts?
My first thing is a gripe, and I'll keep it brief, but I don't like the Pretender shells. It takes away everything that makes robots cool, and Starscream especially, and I understand that that's not in this issue, but I did read 59 and 60 leading up to 61. Starscream looking like a human in a weird armor suit thing takes away the thing that makes Starscream cool, which is that he's a jet and he's really fast. Like, why would you make him into this human looking dude? And seeing Bumblebee and Jazz looking like these weird, what people from the 80s thought the future was going to look like kind of people, it just, and it takes me back to the Headmasters and the Target Masters, and I didn't like that either, because I thought that was also very strange. They're robots. Let them be robots.
Well, I got some good news for you. This is why I married you. This is
because of robots?
No, because that you can care that much about this and explain exactly why. And we are all nodding sagely along with you.
It's wrong, and here's why.
But good news for you.
Yeah.
I think you're going to start noticing fewer and fewer appearances of the actual Pretender shells. I don't think the shells got teleported back with them to Earth at the end, did they?
I'm not sure.
I don't
That's
know.
A good question. I don't think so.
I don't know if we know.
I don't know. I can tell you we're never going to see a Target Master human again. So God knows what happened to them. I hope they weren't on the Ark or they're in a back room somewhere.
Our spacecraft, the Ark.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it last issue. And in fact, we got, and forgive me because I'm not going to remember the Twitter handle's name, but it'll be discussed in issue 60 or episode 60, which hasn't come out yet. But there were some very interesting thoughts about its Pretender technology, essentially, and how they made it a little bit more functional, because I'm sure back in the day, Hasbro was just yeah, we can put robot in a human shell and that can sell more toys. And of course, I mentioned with Pat, last issue. I mean, because he was like, why did they kind of go back? Like, because they were selling toys. You know, like, I really do think it was that simple. But sure enough, as the want and need, like Transformers never really died off super long as far as comic books. Like they've been around really since the mid to late 80s, even to this day. And so what happens when that goes on is people start thinking about like, well, what would be a practical, heavy air quotes here, real world application for a pretender shell? And so like there was this whole explanation for it. So I'm doing that to tell anyone who didn't listen to last episode to go back and listen to it, because the Transformer Spotlight talks about it and you might be interested. It's not going to turn you, Maggie. Like your thoughts are what they are, but it might give like a perspective on what people have thought about like the pretender shells over the decades and their usage, if they were being, again, heavy air quotes, used, heavy air quotes, in the real world today. So,
know what I would use it for? I'd use it and open them up. Then on the inside of it, pour magic shell. Remember that ice cream topping? And then you close it. Then you got a hard shell over the robot.
And it's a tasty one too.
Or maybe you could like that slime from the He-Man line.
Yeah.
In there, and then they go. I think what Hasbro was thinking was along the lines of, will somebody come up with a product that people will buy instead of these Ninja Turtles? Because that's what everybody that was selling toys was thinking about this time. The Transformers toys were on a downward spiral. There was a time the toy line was canceled. This comic book outlasts it. I mean, there's a point somewhere between now and it might already be happening. They're not producing any more toys in America. You'll notice they don't introduce too many toys from this point forward. They kind of just go with who we have.
Yeah. Which kind of, I can guarantee you Simon Furman was probably like, whew. And Bob somewhere was like, how come I didn't get this? I had to write stories about freaking wrestling robots. So, I'm sure in a sense that was a relief for the writer, because they could write stories as opposed to writing toy commercials, essentially. So I do want to ask a question. I'll use my round to ask a question to everybody, because I'm super interested to see what people thought about it. This is the first issue that had Jeff Senior as the artist. And I just wanted to know what everyone thought about that. And I'll go first. I compare Jeff Senior's artwork to kind of like Sal Buscema's artwork. And I remember as a kid, I did not like Sal Buscema's artwork. I thought it was just, I don't know. I do know. It was the comparison to Transformers. Jose Delbo has a more cartoonish type style that just works. It was amazing. And I remember seeing Jeff Senior's and it seemed more grounded and simpler. And I remember as a teenager, as a kid, I didn't like it. And I looked at it now, I'm like, I don't know, again, surprise, surprise, I was dumb as a teenager, because like this was great artwork. He took over, like he was penciler and inker for the book. And I thought the artwork was just really, really good. And even with the action scenes, it just popped and flowed. But I would like to know what you all think about that. Maggie, what did you think? Is this the first time you've seen Jeff Senior's artwork?
Oh, I don't know if I'd even know.
I don't think this would probably be the first you've seen. What else did he do?
I'd have to look.
Yeah.
I know, I'm listening to the Restless Giant Robots, the Andrew Wildman and Simon Furman podcast. He said that he had collaborated with Jeff Senior before. They were both Britmates. So I'm sure that Jeff Senior has a bibliography. I just don't know it. I'd have to look into it. But in matter of fact, I can look at it now. If one of you all want to talk about what you thought about the art.
Yeah.
Oh, no, keep going.
I mean, he did ask me.
I thought you had spoken.
I hadn't yet.
Sorry.
Well, so I wouldn't have anybody else to really compare it to, but I did like the art. I think that it kind of pairs well with the fact that the stories are getting chewier with Simon Furman, and the art pairs well, I feel, with that in this issue. It is more grounded. It's less cartoonish, but it's really very good. The only thing that ever kind of caught me off guard was occasionally when the robots are smiling. Like there's one panel where Bumblebee's smiling and it just looks very uncanny.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like it's all, especially like the Keeper, creepy white, looks like it's made out of stone thing, super awesome. Like I thought the art was really very good.
Death's Head.
I'm getting to it, John.
Oh, sorry.
Let me do my whole stuff. You talk about.
I just remembered. But no, this art's amazing. I don't remember at the time. I thought it was a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting. Sal Buscema is what the Marvel Universe has always looked like when I close my eyes. I think because I collected a lot of Hulk comics when he was on that run. And I liked his punches. This is so good that it winds up informing so many of the IDW artwork. I mean, like Last Stand of the Wreckers, the miniseries is almost trying to look like this in a good way.
Yeah.
Because from this point forward, really, and we've talked about this before, getting to this point, humans are not even secondary characters at this point. They'll show up occasionally when you need them for plots, but they're no longer serving that purpose that they did for the majority of the Budiansky run, which was to offset, the alienness of the Transformers. They're all basically people at this point. There's nothing really all that alien about them, so the humans don't serve that purpose anymore. So it does, as we've said, lead to much more expressive faces on the artwork, like we were talking about, and that's true going forward too, for the most part. So this is really a starting point for so many things that just in the lore and just the accessory things like that. I'll get to Primus later, but somebody else can talk. But
real quick, Pat, before you get started, I was just going to mention Jeff Senior. Unsurprisingly, he drew a lot of Transformers UK, a whole heck of a lot. He drew some Doctor Who for Marvel UK. He did a couple of issues of Action Force. He did Judge Dredd as well, and actually a couple of issues of Transformers Generation 2. And then outside of that world, he also drew a couple of pencils for War Machine and Nova. He has quite the bibliography going. And now with that, Pat, go ahead and tell us what you think about Jeff's artwork.
I think once you mentioned Death's Head, seeing that comic around, I never read it, but I do have some issues of it when, page through it and remember it on the rack. And it was interesting artwork on it that, like you said, kind of cartoony-ish, but yet still realistically feel to it. But on the artwork in this one, I'm looking at that last page of Unicron, just, oh, man.
You came right out of the movie.
Yeah, that looks so sweet. And
that's so good.
Oh, man.
The more I look at this, the more of a Walt Simonson art vibe I get on him, just for the detail on the backgrounds and the being unafraid to go the cosmic scale that he's doing like that. Yeah. Man, that Unicron picture is incredible.
Yeah, he's pretty terrifying. I find that art to be very effective. And they do a good job with the scale and like making him seem really scary. He's got pointy teeth, like eating planets, Galactus style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the layouts, if he had to figure out the layouts on this too, it was very well done too in telling the story. I think it's pretty clean.
Yeah, I'm just yet another reason why it's great for, to visit some of your childhood stuff, because I'm sure some of you's like, man, that got worse over time. But this artwork, it did not. It's great. Just clean lines, just easy to look at, all the action, all the robots, it's great. So I'm glad that everybody enjoyed it, because I didn't know what I think. I knew that Jeff Senior was coming up, and I was wanting to know what the adult eyes looked at as opposed to I did as a kid. So yeah, very, very happy about that artwork. But now let's do at least one more round of talking. John, what did you have to add about the story?
Two quick things. Number one, with the rest of it, I have to give credit where credit's due on the contribution of the colorist on this one. The coloring just pops on every single page that he's doing this. He is not taking any sort of shortcuts on this to an extent I have never seen in this comic up to here. And I wonder if it was just if they all got a talking to and they said, all right, everybody, this is a big jump on point. We got to make sure we do this right. But whatever it was, they sure did a great job. Now for my hilarious nitpick, and hopefully I'm be able to find the clip where we talked about this. I think it was 24-25. We could do it previously on The Matrix. So we all remember the creation matrix from before. At that point, it was depicted as a small piece of circuitry that was in Optimus's head. Mm-hmm. Then Optimus blew up. Then they built him a new body. So where did the Matrix go? We don't know, but luckily we've forgotten all about that because the Matrix now looks like it did in the movie, even though it's still called the Creation Matrix instead of the Matrix of Leadership. But the way we get behind that is, look over there, Unicron is going to be in a whole bunch of things. Isn't that cool, guys? Yeah.
I forgot. You were like, it was this thing that was in Optimus's head. I was like, really? I thought it was in his chest. I did the Mandela effect. That's what it is. Like in my head, that Matrix was always shaped like that, and it was always in Optimus Prime's chest.
There you go.
So yeah. So
maybe I'm wrong, and I just dreamt up this little piece of circuitry for. Well, I don't know.
An Optimus.
Maybe, but whether you are or not, you do bring up a good question. Where the heck is the Matrix?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll go on a quest.
It's with the Ark
to try to find the Matrix. That sounds like that.
Well, it's not with the Ark, Maggie. If you remember, from was it 25 or so? Like Optimus Prime was buried. They sent Ro off in a rocket ship. Gave him like a Transformers Viking funeral.
Yes.
Just sent that thing off into space. So
it's like a really important thing to just kind of lose.
Right, especially since this implies that there's only the one of them that came on the first Transformer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's how all the rest of them happen.
Mm-hmm.
They make baby Transformers.
Seems kind of important. Pat, were you going to say something?
No, I mean, now that Jonathan says that, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. What happened?
That's what I'm for.
That's how it all went down. I'm like, oh, I guess it did go down that way. And
yeah, what happened to it? Who knows? Okay, we don't now, but we will soon. How about that? We's gonna find out. So, but before we get to that, Pat, was there anything that you wanted to add about this issue today?
I just want to add that the history or origin of it all, you mentioned it in the synopsis, I believe, of the theme that you see a lot of the light versus dark. And when you said that, what popped in my mind is, and because maybe it's because I remember watching it couple months ago or whatever, is the Record of Lotus Wars.
Yeah.
And you have the light and the dark, and they face in the beginning of the earth, and you have the two warring factions are from these two bigger gods that go against each other, and that's how you get kind of regular Lotus Wars, and it's that face off again of good versus evil, and they build up their army. So that came to my mind. I'm like, oh, cool. I understand this. I get it. I can see what's going to happen. There's going to be battles and stuff coming along the way here to fight for something.
Lotus War podcast starring Pat and Jonathan coming hopefully soon.
You would, if such a podcast were to exist, I would be the newbie because I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
It's an anime that was literally based on someone's D&D campaign.
Yeah.
And like watching a Dungeons and Dragons game, hilariously in some parts, because suddenly characters will just die. And then a little later, a new character will show up and then join with them. And nobody really takes they kind of seamlessly flows in with the people. And all things.
Yeah, you got to see it. It's pretty fun. It's cool. It's cool.
I can't believe I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, you'll have to send me a link or something. I'll at least maybe sit down one of these nights and check it out. I was going I'm glad you brought up the origin part of it. I can ask John and Maggie, like, were y'all okay with that? Did you feel like that was a well enough fleshed out origin story as far as the table setter goes for the Transformers?
Yeah, it's great. And that pretty much, with a few minor cosmetic changes, winds up being the origin in pretty much every Transformers continuity going forward.
Wow.
It was a surprise, too, because this is a couple of years at least removed from the movie. And that's and 2 years is forever in, kid to teenager brain. We had Unicron was not on anybody's mind at this point. So no, but it wasn't being talked about. Really, nobody ever thought that Unicron was going to show up in the regular show, because they had really taken pains to keep to keep a great deal of the movie stuff out of it, with some exceptions like Hot Rod and Blur and Cup. But you don't see out Ultra Magnus in this. You won't see like Quintessons, things like that. But here we got Unicron, and man, what a debut!
Yeah, absolute debut. The only thing that made me smile, I was just like, man, was there, like, if there were other beings within the omniversal matrix, couldn't someone have helped Primus? Because Primus was getting his butt kicked. It's like, okay, I'm going to go to this dimension. He's kicking my butt here too.
You got like Thor and like Hercules and whatnot. All right, we're ready to go. And Primus like, I got it, guys. All right.
Yeah, he needed to pull like a Talladega Nights or something. Save me, Tom Cruise. Using witchcraft to put out the fires, because he was just taking a butt whooping. I was like, oh my goodness. So, anyways, Maggie, are you in agreement with your husband there about, like, did you enjoy the origin part of it? Were you buying that?
Oh, yeah, I like a creation myth. I thought it was kind of cool. The only part that didn't make sense to me was if he's sleeping, there's no way he's going to know if everyone's ready to go to fight against Unicron. And also the fact that it kind of establishes that the Transformers were created specifically to fight and defeat Unicron. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they have free will. But as far as creation myths go, I thought it was pretty neat. Yeah.
With Primus, with the creation matrix or the matrix of leadership, it always has enough energy in there to just blow Unicron right the hell up. But Primus is never able to defeat Unicron.
It seems like it was established in this issue that Primus alone was not going to be enough to beat Unicron.
Right.
He wasn't. He simply was not. And so he was hoping that his creations would one day grow strong enough to do so. But I do agree with you about if he's was just asleep, how would he ever know that they were powerful enough? I don't know if there was like some sort of God timer that went off, like bing, and he opened like one eye. Is like,
maybe maybe when they hit a certain point that this would hit some sort of failsafe program and he'd wake up.
Maybe,
and they probably weren't to that point yet.
That bit where he wakes up and screams is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And the fact that they didn't give that moment a splash page, I think, is kind of odd. But it was sort of effective with the little vertical panel kind of tall that it was, with the big letters in his mouth in the background. I thought that was actually really very cool.
I also think that it was so understated, so beautifully understated. And what I mean by that is it was well hinted at, because at first Bumblebee, who was kind of like the de facto leader, was like, we can't really do anything right now. Even if we die, we might have to die in order to make sure that Primus stays asleep. And then he's like, well, okay, that ain't gonna fly. We've got to fight back here. And so he did, and then it was all over, and everything was done. And then, the Decepticon does the Decepticon thing, and it just takes one errant blast, and it just triggers all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And
if I know
Grimlock is the best part. It's just an irritation to him, and he's like, huh? He barely feels it, but it's enough to just set everything off.
Yeah.
Great story.
I was just going to say, as we were talking about a few things, the original origin, I guess, I'm glad they kind of did it this way, because if I remember right, the origin is just, hey, this planet's been around for a long time, right? You don't know anything before that, right? Never was said, and so that covers this. And then it makes sense now because there's just two warring factions that were always warring against each other for a while, right? Because they got nothing better to do. They've got nobody else to fight.
This makes that more tragic. It's the fact that they were created in order to make themselves better in order to fight this threat, but yet they've spent millions of years in internal civil
fighting
war.
each other. Yeah.
That's probably what's holding them back.
Yeah, exactly. And that goes back to my 80s nostalgia that I think the only way Unicron is going to get defeated is by the power of love and friendship.
Yes. If it follows the rules of the 80s, it will absolutely
stare. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, eventually Care Bears are gonna merge, and then they're gonna beat Unicron.
My Little Pony friendship is matter.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a crossover between My Little Pony and Transformers, wasn't there? And I heard it was pretty good. I never read it, but I heard it was
they were amazing. They were fantastic.
Really, really good.
I think the only reason why I didn't read it because yes, My Little Pony was around when I was a kid, but I never played.
You weren't the target audience.
The Star Trek one and the Terminator one are probably more up your alley. Those were great. The Terminator Transformers crossover is incredible.
Now, just 1 minute. I have one last thing I'd like to say about the issue.
Okay.
Go for it.
I just wanted to add that I felt like this issue was kind of like reading the storyboard of a cartoon. I 100% could see this being an animated episode of a Transformers cartoon. It was so cool. Even with the creation story, I think that would actually make it a really interesting cartoon episode. I think that would be kind of fun. But especially like with Primus and Unicron, I would just seeing them like moving around. I guess I was kind of thinking of it as I was reading it in terms of the movie, because that's like the closest thing I kind of had to go off of. It would be really cool to see this issue animated. I think it'd be really neat.
Yeah.
And that's
my super important point that I wanted to make.
And then that's why I think, Maggie, if you get a chance, I don't know if it's on YouTube or whatever, find like the opening of Record of Lotus Wars. You'll see these two powers kind of going at it like that. And that's what really gave me my mind to think about that. So.
I do want to check that out.
We got to play D&D with Pat sometime.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting you mentioned D&D as well. I just left a friend's place. I don't know if this would be in the show or not, but one of my vet buddies I've known for 20 plus years, his name's DJ, and DJ's a big D&D guy. And he has like his man room or area, whatever, where he has a whole setup for D&D. Like he said that him and his friends just concluded like a 4.5 year campaign.
Wow, good for them.
Wow.
Cool.
And to finish a campaign alone is an accomplishment.
And apparently it's like gonna be like the end. It's like the end of like chapter 1. They all thought that they were the original characters, but like they actually were like essentially avatars that were being pulled from space, and it's about to open up like a new adventure. And I'm just like, holy. Yeah, my buddy DJ dungeon master of all of it, and he was like, "Yep," and I created all these scenes, and I'm like,
"Yeah,
I'm not creative like that at all. All I can do is just marvel at it."
You'd best not get Maggie and I started, because if you think we're Transformers nerds, holy cow!
Oh, I'm a way bigger D&D nerd than a Transformers.
Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, I was going to say, I DM'd for a group of people I worked with. And that's where we got together, DM'd, and we went through Redbox, or
the old Redbox with the
did all that, and then went through. We started with 4E.
Oh, okay, that's what Maggie started with.
Yeah, it's the first thing.
I like it. But anyway.
I swear, I told DJ that it's like, no, I've not ever actively played D&D. It's like, but it's like I'm D&D adjacent, and sure enough, 3 out of 4 of the people I'm podcasting with right now is like, yes, I actively play D&D.
We play online with Clinton Robinson and John M. Wilson.
Yeah,
nice, nice. That's awesome. I
got the D&D right there. I got the board game.
It's the Wrath of...
And then I got the Legend of Drizzt.
Oh, Legend of Drizzt.
All right.
John's dad is going to bed soon.
Actually, no, I probably won't cut it out. I'm probably going to just clip it and put it at the end. Like, somebody will want to hear that as outtakes. Like, because, I mean, who's listening to this show but a bunch of gosh darn nerds? So,
100%.
Yeah. So they're going to want to...
It's just circles on top of circles. Yeah. It's all overlap.
Our D&D episodes get a lot of ratings too.
Anyhow.
All right, sorry.
All right. We'll blah, blah, blah. Is there anything else that anyone wants to bring up about Transformers 61?
Nope.
Not at this time.
In that case... Now is the time for us to talk about who had the touch. When we talk about the character who stood out the most in the book, be it Autobot, Decepticon, or human. We'll start with John. John, who had the touch to you?
Oh, let's see. In honor of this of us learning about the Transformers religion and their origin steps, I'm going to take a page from the religion of my childhood and go Catholic on this and pick 3. Catholic's got a discount on the number 3, as well as Robin Egg Blue and statues. So I'm tied for 3 on this because they all jumped out at me. First of all is the in order of silly to real. Number 1 is the smartest Decepticon in the world, who is talking to Scorponok, who points out, look, you idiot, don't talk to us about keeping Starscream. He has tried to kill us. He has killed more of us than the Autobots have. Will you kill him? I've got a gun in my room. I'll go get it. So
you don't understand, do you? You don't.
No.
Keep going. Number 2.
Number 2, I got to go with Starscream, just because scheming. Plus, I love Starscream.
And then scheming.
Yeah, but then my real one is Bumblebee for his for the second issue in the row. An Autobot leader type is having an existential crisis and gets out of it by beating someone up. But I do love the scene where he transforms into the Volkswagen and just hits Bludgeon. How he bends backward like that. I can just feel that panel. Love that stuff. So Bumblebee is the real one.
And then he set him up for that trap where, like, the Micromaster was like, you know how to water skis? Like, me neither. just carries them off.
Where did the water come from? Where did the water come from? And also, why did you bring a dude who's a boat?
Well,
they were trying to get to Earth.
Yes.
But how would a Cybertronian evolve to be a boat? There's no water on Cybertron. They don't drink water.
Maybe he had adapted to a new Terran form.
Oh, that's right. They do that, don't they?
Look at me with these.
Always an answer.
Everywhere.
They have some sort of water or access to it, because Bumblebee on his original text specs refers to him being designed for underwater activities.
A VW bug?
Yes.
Okay. Well, a submersible VW bug?
You can
maybe like Herbie. Anyways, Maggie. Yes. Maggie, who had the touch to you?
I'm also going to give it to 3, but they come all as one package. It's those 3 little assassin dudes whose names I don't know. The one is Bludgeon.
The
the other pretender ones. Yeah.
The little guys.
Bludgeon, Octopunch, and I can't remember the third.
I can't remember it either, but specifically the panel where Grimlock punches Octomom or whatever his name is in his diver's helmet thing, that's pretty funny. But they are tenacious and effective, and whether they meant to or not, it's because of their actions that they got to meet Primus at all. So I'll give it to the bad guys. And
just as a point of correction, Grimlock headbutted him.
Yeah.
That is so
he headbutted, and that's mine. That's Grimlock's he's got the touch.
Oh, this is it.
You like the headbutt?
He just rams that in there. It's like boom.
Yeah, it's like that's certainly effective for sure. It's like
he's like, worry about this.
He's starting his beginning quest on the Archbishop of the Church of Primus, and he's forcibly converting some folks.
Love it. And if I have to choose, I'm going to choose Unicron, because one, Unicron was beating Primus's butt all throughout the freaking different planes of existence. And then just that splash page at the end, he's going to be a problem. You look at that dude, and that dude is going to be a problem with a capital P. So I'm going to go with Unicron.
I have been a fool, made mistakes, monumental ones.
But I am just a broken machine, and I do things that.
So I'll keep us moving. If we have talked about the touch, someone had to be out of touch. We talk about the character that was the worst in the book, and I swear I wrote this last night, and took a Grimlock headbutt to the porthole. In the segment called Less Than Meets the Eye, Pat, was there anyone who was less than meets the eye to you?
Well, yeah, it's definitely got to be the Octopunch guy.
Oh, yeah.
A couple times in this is like, I'm Octopunch and I'm the best of the world. Uh-huh. and then you got the two little bots that kind of did the old, I'm going to stand behind you and put my leg out so then you trip over and fall backwards.
Yeah. Like they said something about what's the earth saying about pride and falls. And it's like, and as a kid, I was probably like, I have no idea what is that. But I remember now it's like, okay, I totally get that. Anyways, John, who was less than meets the eye to you?
I was trying to find somebody besides that Octopunch dude.
Yeah.
And the only one I can I'll pick just to not have is first. My joke answer is Scorponok for having to pick the majestic fields of New Jersey as their new
under a grassy
headquarters.
mound in New Jersey. That's where the Decepticon base is.
But this Harbinger dude in the beginning, the keeper. First of all, what an incredible design! God, is there anything bad about this book at all? But he does his whole thing, and I am the mysterious person. Stand here while I exposit, and then get shot. So
yeah, like one shot, done.
I mean,
So
even Alpha Tryon got a few shots off, but yeah, that guy.
Maggie, who was less than meets the eye to you?
I'm going to give it to the Pretender Shells because I don't like them.
your mind's totally gonna change when you hear Transformers Spotlight from last issue. It's less than meets the eye. I'm gonna go with Scorponok only because, like, even though he had a point, he's like, we need to bolster our ranks. Starscream's a capable warrior. I got an eye on him. I'm kind of with the Decepticons. It's like if you go to like the current series right now, there was a particular instance where like Soundwave was like, I'm gonna fight you. And Starscream was like, nah, man, I don't do that stuff. And like the rest of the Decepticons surrounding him was like, no, that's our way.
That's how we do stuff.
That's how we do. We're Decepticons. and so sure enough, like even these Decepticons back in the late 80s were like, kill him.
Like, who elected you anyway?
It was like, so like I think Scorponok made a mistake. I mean, he's a leader, and leaders do make mistakes sometimes. I mean, that's what makes leaders. Sometimes you make mistakes and you improve from them. But this one, I'm actually with the other Decepticons on this. I think keeping Starscream around is a bad idea.
I mean,
but good.
Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me literally 150 times. It's somebody else's fault at this point.
Right, this time when we keep Starscream around, he's not going to do any scheming, right? Like, yes, it's Starscream. That's what he does.
Maybe the Decepticons are in a toxic relationship with Starscream.
I'm pretty sure Delilah's not going to cut off your hair if you tell it, even though she's tried every fake thing that you've told her up to this point. You're pretty safe.
All right, it's time for overall ratings of the book, 1 through 10. I get the feeling where this is going to go. I know John's rating. I don't know Pat's though. I'm going to ask Pat, what is he going to rate Transformers 61?
Well, I think I'm going to be at a 9, and I think what's holding me back on it is it was kind of a shorter story. I was looking for a little bit more. But I think just the page count that they're doing, I noticed, the last few issues, story's been a little more, it feels like it needed another page or two just to kind of fill it up, but still enjoyable.
Okay. I'll go second. I thought about this. I was thinking about this on either my drive to Jiu-Jitsu or back from, and I was like, what am I rating the book tonight? And I was like, I think I'm going with a 10. And because it's it was a table setter, and sometimes you get that book that says, okay, this is going to be kind of telling, we're going to be taking stuff and adding onto the table, taking it off for the rest of whatever time. This book, Transformers 61, is going to have reverberations through the rest of the series. It is so important. And they got so much done in about 22 pages. It's just incredible. I am blown away. I am just seriously blown away by the storytelling and by what was put out in the book. And you'll see, Pat, I mean, you gave it a 9, and this is the first time that you've even seen this. Just keep this issue in mind as we move forward for about the next year or so and see how much stuff they pull from it. It is amazing. Let's go with Maggie. Maggie, what would you rate Transformers 61?
I am going to also give it a 9, only because I feel like 10 is reserved for something that really wowed me. And this was very good, but it doesn't quite have the edge of a 10. But it's absolutely a solid 9. It's a very good issue. I like that these are getting a little meatier. They're a little more mature, I guess. Mm-hmm. They use different words and concepts than what I probably would have seen in the earlier run.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and so I've been kind of enjoying that, and maybe that's because I'm an adult and I'm not a child from the 80s, But I really enjoyed it, so I will give it a 9.
Maybe you would have given it a 10 if they would have taken Pretender Shells out and there would have been 2 Unicrons at the
end. No Pretender Shells, 2 Grimlocks.
John, Transformers 61. I already know, but I got to hear it from you.
It's 10. There's nothing wrong with these issues. You people who have picked a 9 just do not have any joy left in your life.
Wow, I don't know the rest of the story yet, so I'm totally
getting rid of what you want. I get this, but this one it was a treat to be able to reread this now, knowing not only everything else that comes in this series, but just in all of the other continuities coming forward. I mean, in Phase 2 does so many nods specifically to this issue. It's fun to see. So it's great to go back and just see these things. And it's always wonderful to see an issue where all of the elements just fall into place and become something that's greater than the sum of their parts. And that is definitely this one. So 10.
Yep, I am just truly impressed. I did not expect this. I knew that Simon Furman was going to come up. I knew that the timbre of the book changed a little bit, but so far I've just been blown away by what he has done. And surely there's going to be some issues. I'm like, okay, this is a 6, this is a 7, surely, right? I mean, it has to be. But for right now, I am blown away by what Simon Furman and team have done. So please take a bow to Simon Furman and team. And with that, we will go to a promo break.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Beginning at the ripe old age of 4 years old, seeing Star Wars for the first time, I became obsessed with the movies. What they were, what they did, what they meant. I turned that obsession into a career, climbing the filmmaking and storytelling ranks as a screenwriter, author, and television maker. Now, I'm taking you on a journey through the cinema that defined my generation, Generation X, in the Celluloid Heroes podcast. Examining the landmark films of the era from the well-known to the obscure, to the unexpected, charting a history of cinema growth over the past 50 years, and looking forward to where it's going next. Celluloid Heroes is part memoir, part film analysis, and part exploration of the last 50 years of cinema through a Gen X lens. From the suburban adventures of Star Wars and E.T. the Extraterrestrial, to the Reagan-era cinema of The Right Stuff and Red Dawn, the sunny nostalgia that isn't of Back to the Future and Stand By Me, the year Generation X broke big with Reservoir Dogs and Dazed and Confused, the cautionary Los Angeles center tales of L.A. Confidential and The Limey, the last great golden age of blockbuster filmmaking with The Fellowship of the Ring and Pirates of the Caribbean, and concluding with the mournful ruminations of Inside Llewyn Davis and The Irishman. Celluloid Heroes will take a deep look at the themes, makers, and cultural context of this diverse array of films, and try to determine just what makes them so special to filmgoers, filmmakers, and to this fan in particular, as I chart a life through the movies that inspired me. It's also something of an autobiography of this young film fan who became a filmmaker himself, charting the good, the bad, and the ugly of a life in the creative arts with all of its triumphant moments and bitter defeats along the way. My name is Brad Abraham, and I welcome you to the Celluloid Heroes podcast, a proud member of the LONGBOX CRUSADE podcast network. Catch us monthly, and I'll see you there.
We now return to the Transformers.
Now it's time for Transmissions, where we heap praise upon the audience for listening to us. We are sincerely appreciative of everyone who takes time to listen to the show. If you want to go to YouTube, I'm going to talk about this later again, but go to YouTube and give us a like on there, subscribe to LONGBOX CRUSADE. And we're now talking about Transformer Chronicles, the Marvel Years, episode 56, where we talked about Transformers issue 56. We had social media shares and retweets from Courtney Holland, Kirk Spencer, Coffee and Comics, Jared Albrecht, the Yard Sale Artist, Alan E. Boyce Jr., Matt Passo, and Jim Meal. And we had a few episode comments as well. Pat, if you'd like to pick one, go ahead.
Sure. I'll take the one from Todd Matthey. And Todd says, need a guest?
Maybe.
Maybe. We never really know.
Who knows? We don't know what we're doing.
We're kind of a fly by the seat of our pants organization here, Todd. But I tell you what, if you find me out on social media and give me a message, then it's certainly a possibility. So, yeah, absolutely. John and or Maggie, would you like to read the next comment?
I want to do the next one.
Okay.
From Matt, how do you pronounce the last name?
Passo.
Because I wanted to say Poisson. It was great hearing John and Maggie again. Thank you. And really want to read this issue. It's cool to hear how long Ratchet has been intertwined with Megatron. Also makes me want to track down some of the IDW books, but the continuity confuses me.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Fair.
We should be getting back to doing Rod Pods at some point. You know what? Remind me at some point. I'll throw I know I actually have this. I think this guy's following me on Blue Sky. I'll send him a link to our IDW stuff. And plus, John reads comics. John M. Wilson and Lane have been doing the Phase 1 stuff, which leads up until our stuff. And they're almost done because they actually record things.
Oh, they're maniacs.
Yeah, so
podcasting beans.
And then after that, we might all team up and just do it to the end. But that'd be the best place to start with IDW, I'd say.
I need one of y'all to, I wouldn't mind picking up the IDW runs and reading some more Transformers history. And I'm sure that it's not super expensive. Send me some stuff, even if it's some graphic novels or something that I can pick up. I wouldn't mind catching up on that continuity at some point. So, remind me of that. And
we always have somewhere to go after we hit 80, right?
Oh no, I got plans for after 80. Don't at least 20 more issues after 80. But John, would you like to read the last comment?
Gonna be Sleepwalker, I know it. Ryan Prinky commented to say that this was the last issue of the original Marvel run I bought new off the spinner rack. After the epic issue 50, the stories were becoming less and less focused and more gimmicky with Micromaster Wrestling and King Kong homages. I just wasn't interested anymore, and I moved on to X-Men. Man, this was a good time to do that. That's my favorite X-Men run. It's too bad, really, as Simon Furman's run is so good. I definitely picked it up and read it later on. Yeah, I had the same situation. This was among one of the last ones I did. I was getting to the point where I was putting away childish things and chasing girls for about 3 years before I went right back to the toys and comics.
Toys and comics are less likely to break your heart. But it's so interesting. I never thought to stop collecting Transformers. And then sometime soon, I'd have to look up whenever Amazing Spider-Man about 341, 342 came out, because that's when I started collecting it, and that was my gateway drug into the rest of the Marvel universe was Spidey, which is why Spidey's forever my guy. But yeah, X-Men, obviously they were on fire too, because I mean they were soon about to launch X-Men 1, like that sold like a gajillion copies. It was so freaking popular. And Jim Lee was drawing the Uncanny X-Men at the time, and Jim Lee, my goodness, just eye-watering stuff. Anyway, if we happen to miss a few, we apologize. It's a good problem to have, but we don't want to forget to recognize anyone. Ping us on Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram. We will correct it the next issue. Ladies, gentlemen, robots, that is the show. Please come back and join us for the next episode where we discuss Transformers issue 62, where the Matrix quest begins. If you'd like to hear more from us, Longbox Crusade is in a lot of places. You look at Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, or Patreon. You search for Longbox Crusade. You will find us. You will find us on most podcasts as well, and most podcatchers. You could, if you don't want to just go to Longbox Crusade, I highly recommend it. Longbox Crusade is an awesome network. I personally am all over it, so is Pat. But if you want to just look up Transformers Chronicles, you can find Transformers Chronicles as well on pretty much any podcatcher as well. And we would love for you to follow us there as well. For Longbox Crusade as well, we have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We have live content there that we do often, as well as recorded content as well. There's a voicemail that you can leave us voicemail comments on also, 707-532-5269. That is 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone.
Thank you, John, with the reverb at the end. And you can also email us at contact@longboxcrusade.com. And John, while you're done with the harmony, you can tell us about your podcast and where you can be found on the internet.
Maggie and I do Married with Content. We talk about nerdy stuff and other things. Just point your podcatcher to look for MWC or Married with Content. Other social media wise, you can send us an email to marriedwcomics@gmail.com, or the best way to talk on a social media to get that will actually talk back to you would be on Blue Sky, is where we're most active, and that's I'm Moon Cthulhu there, which is at mwcpodcast.bluesky.social.
Maggie, is there anything that you want to add?
I'm technically on Blue Sky at Maggie in the Rain, but I don't super use social media anymore. So I occasionally use it to post bird facts, but that's about it.
They are interesting bird facts. I mean, don't sell it short.
And they come with little pictures of the birds pictures I've taken.
Well, nice. Go and follow Maggie for some bird comments. And Pat, where can you be found?
Well, Delvin, I'm glad you asked. You can find me on the X at Christatos01. Delvin, where can you be found?
Instagram, Delvin Ray, Threads, Delvin Ray, and Blue Sky, DEERAY 1977. See you all next time. And remember, freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Till all are one.
Till all are one.
You got the touch. You got the power. Yeah.
All songs, song clips, and characters discussed are copyright of their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended, and it is for entertainment purposes only. We are just fans that like to share our love of comics.